Dengeki Bunko's February is selling in big portions, so this time we will be introducing some notable light novels that will be released in February. We will introduce them thoroughly so that not only people who want to know the latest trends in light novels, but also people who don't usually read light novels will be interested in light novels. So please watch this video to find the works that you're interested in. This time we will focus on Dengeki Bunko's notable works that will be released in mid-February. We will be introducing a lot of new series that you are interested in, so be sure to check out until the end of the video. Let's get started. Starting with the Dengeki Bunko series, which will be released on January 10th. Let's pick up the noteworthy works of the sequel, 9S Vol.12 and 13, the Irregular Magic High School, Cygnus Maidens Volume 6, the Regalia Volume 6, and Wizard's Brain Encore. These are the 4 works that I like to introduce, so let's check out the first one. This is a work that has been waited for readers for almost 21 years after its last volume stopped at Volume 11, which was back in 2012. It really has this kind of feel where it has finally now started to slow down a bit, mainly because it has now finally reached its end of story. Hayama Sensei can now finally settle down. By the way, the first volume of this work was released in 2003, so it was more than 20 years ago. It's a science fiction work centered around the series. It's an interesting series with a fairly hard science fiction setting, and it was released as a light novel because it was in the early 2000s. It may be said that this series is the latest one, but this time after 21 years, the latest volume will be released, but the story will reach its climax all at once. The 2 volumes will be released at the same time and will be the final chapter, so we have been waiting for a long time. I'm sure the fans are both very happy and sad at the same time. I'm sure they are happy that it appeared in the final episode, but in the final episode, the final battle will take place before the crisis of humanity extinction. Therefore, it's a development suitable for the climax. Well, I have only read the first few parts of the series, so I'm thinking that if there's a final part, I may as well read it again. If you're interested, please check it out when you get a chance. Next, this is the 6th volume of the Regalia. This is the latest post-apocalyptic fantasy from Gakuto Mikumo. The first volume was released in June of last year, so this is the first new volume in 8 months. It's been quite a while. This is a work which the main character, who has become a slayer, assists by buffing his troops in the land of dragons. The author, Gakuto Mikumo, has written many masterpieces of light novels such as Strike the Blood and many more, and is a highly accomplished innovator of battle story works. I think this is one of the most top post-apocalyptic supernatural battle works in the last few years. In the previous volume, the story has a climax-like feel, and the foreshadowing was recovered quite neatly, so I'll leave it at that. I thought it would end, but it looks like it will last a little longer, and the latest volume will not be released anytime soon. The cover of this edition gives off the aura of the final period, but is like a preview of the preview. I feel like it's going to continue, so I don't know what's gonna happen. The latest volume seems to be set in 3 years after the previous volume, so it might be just like the beginning. Fans of the series are wondering what the future holds for this work in the latest issue. Wizard's Brain Encore. A new book was released last year for the first time in about 8 years, and the series has come to a grand conclusion. The latest book was released without opening the Demon Lord. This series is a world where magic has become possible due to science and technology. It's a science fiction action fantasy where various intentions intersect, but the main story is beautiful. The latest edition is a collection of a short story. It also includes short stories that were previously published on the Novecomi Dengeki website, which is a great short story collection for series fans. It's quite difficult to get Dengeki Bunko magazine these days, so this collection of a short story also includes newly written episode. The main story is a series of a series development, so this time it seems like the story will be a little looser and more peaceful. If you're a fan of this series, don't miss this collection of short stories. Mahoka Koko no Retose, Cygnus Maiden Volume 6, the latest volume of the Guardian series of Mahoka, is now available. The first volume of this series was released last February, so this is the first new book in a year. And the Muggin Company from the main story has also been released at the same time. So it's inevitable that the pace of this work will slow down. In fact, I think it's pretty amazing that they are releasing at this pace. The setting is magical high school after Taya and the others graduate. But in this series, the main character is not Taya or Miyuki, but a different character. As you can see from the subtitles of the story, it involves around with a schoolgirl female protagonist. The school life at Maoka High School unfolds with somewhat magical atmosphere. It has a much more youthful feel than the main story, which is more serious. In the previous volume, it also became the main character in the story. Erika, Leo, and the others from past will also appear, so you can enjoy it in a crossover way. Basically, the main story is student life, but I'm curious as to how it will be linked to the main story as the story progresses. In such situation, the latest edition is about the opening of the school festival express held by Magic High School in various places. Looks like it will be an episode full of school youth. It's like a common knowledge in Magic that at school events like this, a mysterious organization usually brings in, but what will happen this time? The story of the Maiden of Cygnus Maiden. I don't know what will happen in the future because the core part of it has to stay dormant. The latest edition of Maoka is also worth a look. As for the TV series, the third edition of the anime will start from airing April of this year, so it's a long wait for the third season. Fans should look closer forward to it as well. Dengeki Bunko also has an educational fantasy drawn by Kazuma Kamachi, the strongest individual guardians in another world from the Red Dot Witch Volume 2. Guess your student if they find out it's over Volume 2 and Hokagakari Volume 2 will also be released. Don't miss it if you're a fan. Next, check out the new series. Next, let's check out the new series. You can't put a collar on a witch. House Princess Ajin's youngest princess usurped the throne, Stars and Warriors and the Holy War biography. Do you think you could live normally in a world with a 1:5 male to female ratio? What happens when a girl with intense emotion are at the mercy of an unconscious boy? Let's look at these three works. This new work, You Can't Put a Collar on a Witch, is one of this month's most popular works. It's a new work that won the top spot out of a total of 4,167 works that were submitted for Dengeki Nova. It's a work that is targeted for the Dengeki Awards. It's a really interesting every time. Well, I'm looking forward to this. The setting of this work seems to be a fantasy action story about an organization that carries out criminal operations in a magical world. The main heroine is a witch with enough power to destroy a country. Because she acts freely, the witch gives her her head. The title is I Can't Wait. It seems that the story begins with the main character, an ordinary investigator, being assigned to a department filled with witches and other troublesome people. He solves magical crimes with the heroine who have strong witches, so you can enjoy it in a buddy action style. Furthermore, during the award battle, you can interact with many characters. It's been said that it's very attractive and the fast-paced story seems to be appealing as well. The illustrators are also very nice to wrote about the art. No, I'm really looking forward to it as if it's a work that targeted for new audience. It's a new book, so I don't think I'll prioritize reading it once it releases. If you're interested, please check it out. Next up is this story about how Princess Ajin's, the youngest princess, usurped the throne, Stars and Warriors in the Holy War biography. This is a fantasy work that has a post-school atmosphere. The subdued design on the cover is quite nice. This work is about humans and subhumans. It seems to be set in the era of Sora, where humans wage war, an adventure of a warrior general who lives in an era where the war continued to spread. It looks like it's going to be a one-woman series that depicts various characters such as the Ogami Sea that has become an invention, lovers torn apart by war, and a princess named Ajin who rose from the rebel army to becoming an emperor. The story seems to be told from the character's point of view, so it's more like a military expansion series. It looks like it's going to be a military fantasy, but I read the example and it seems it's like a really deep fantasy, and it seems like it's going to be a good read. It's over 450 pages, so it's pretty thick. It's a post-war fantasy, so I think it's worth picking up for people who want to read it thoroughly. If you're interested, please read it. This is a new work that is totally different from the youthful romance type. It's a new work that is completely different also from a youth Ranobe type as well. I'm curious about the 1:5 of men and women. The main character in this work are different. The story begins with the protagonist being transported to a parallel world where there are more women than in the original world of men. It's the kind of thing you often see in erotic doujinshi, but it's a world with fewer men, so it makes sense. Women are aggressive, so this is what men are after all. It also feels like a romance. The main character, who was kind to women, ends up getting carried away, but the heroine loses the highlight in her eyes just by being with another woman. Shirogeki also looks like a character, just a slight yandere. This is a very interesting new work that has the feel of a slapstick romance comedy where the chick heroine makes you fall in love with them. By the way, the main character seems to be a college student, so it looks like it's going to be a irregular college romantic comedy, and the values of it are off. If you're curious about how Madonna's love life unfolds around the world, check it out. I've introduced the new books from Dengeki Bunko. Next, I'll check out the new works from other labels. Here are the two works. The Straw Man, the Cat, and the Princess rise to fame with trading skills between space and Earth. The President, Hero, Space Pirates. The Amazing Village Creator, Slow Living with the Village Building Cheat Skill, Volume 7. Let's check it out all at once. The Straw Man, the Cat, and the Princess rise to fame with trading skills between space and Earth. The President, Hero, Space Pirates. This is a new series. I don't understand why the titles seem such like a mixed bag. I'm a little concerned about the fact that there isn't a dungeon in Tokyo, but this is also a modern day dungeon where the troops are in a modern world. And the main character is a poor college student. One day, the main character exchanges something from a distant universe with something from Earth. You can acquire a mysterious skill called space trade and your life will change, right? I like the idea of bringing Toyu Junior High School technology into a dungeon works. Modern dungeon works are increasingly mainly on the web, but I was surprised that there was such an approach. It said that you can also get Roman's giant robot. I'm curious as to how much technology they will be using as reference, and I'm really curious as to what kind of story it will be, so I'm thinking of giving it a try. If you're interested, please give it a look. And lastly, The Amazing Village Creator, Slow Life with the Village Building Cheat Skill Volume 7. This is a slow life story of how a son of a feudal lord reincarnated from the present day but was given a gift that made him unable to fight and hence being banished. It's a story where you can feel something with both erotics and slow life will combine, like a 2-in-1 combination. This time, Luke has now has another heavy task: save a city at the request of a king from another country, facing a super weapon and a bullet train from the unknown. It's a kind of a burden, even if you are a village creator, as doing all the works while arranging your troops or minions. By the way, this work has exceeded over 30,000 copies and 100 million PV promotionals, so it's quite a huge view. I do not want to look forward to it, but if there's an anime announcement, I would want to, since it's very attractive and interesting. So if you're looking for a Minecraft-like story, then check out this one. So this time, I have introduced the works which will be released on mid-February. It was an introduction to a new work, and this time it was a pretty hot lineup with works targeted for Dengeki novels being released. I wonder what you all thought of the lineup this time. If you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comment section. That's all for this video. I'll be introducing new books again next week, so please hit the subscribe button to show your support for the channel. I'd be happy if you could watch another video. See you next time.